What if the biggest dangers in your life are the ones your brain never notices? Imagine someone says, "Smoking can't be that dangerous. My grandfather smoked 3 packs a day and lived past 100. Or perhaps you've heard someone say, "Crime is exaggerated. My friend never locks his apartment door, even when he goes on vacation, and nothing has ever happened." These statements sound convincing. After all, they're based on real experiences. But there is a problem. Personal stories are often terrible evidence. They feel true because they are easy to remember. And that's where one of the most powerful psychological biases begins. Psychologists call it the availability bias. The availability bias occurs when we judge reality based on the examples that come to mind most easily. Instead of using statistics, evidence, or probability, we rely on memory. And memory is far from objective. Consider a simple question. Are there more English words that begin with the letter K, or more words that have K as their third letter? Most people confidently answer that there are more words beginning with K. But they're wrong. In reality, there are more than twice as many words with K as the third letter. So why do people get this wrong? Because words that start with K are easier to recall. Our brains confuse ease of recall with frequency. This simple mistake affects nearly every part of our lives. It shapes how we view danger, success, health, politics, and even other people. For example, many people fear dying in a plane crash. Airplane disasters dominate headlines and television coverage. Images of wreckage and tragedy are burned into our memories. Yet, statistically, flying is one of the safest forms of transportation ever created. Meanwhile, far more people die from diabetes, heart disease, or poor lifestyle choices. But these dangers are quiet and invisible. They don't make dramatic headlines. As a result, we underestimate them. Our brains are naturally attracted to dramatic events. We think emotionally instead of statistically. We think in stories rather than numbers. Doctors can fall victim to this bias too. A doctor who recently treated several patients with a rare disease may suddenly start seeing that disease everywhere. Familiar diagnoses come to mind faster than unfamiliar ones. As a result, patients may receive treatments based on memory rather than evidence. Consultants often make the same mistake. Faced with a new problem, they frequently reach for old solutions. Not because those solutions are best, but because they're familiar. The availability bias also explains why repetition is so powerful. The more often we hear something, the more believable it becomes. Remarkably, this remains true even when the statement is false. Repetition creates familiarity. Familiarity creates trust. And trust often gets mistaken for truth. This is why propaganda works. This is why rumors spread. And this is why misinformation can survive for years. Companies are not immune either. Corporate leaders often focus on information that is easy to obtain. Quarterly reports, sales numbers, and spreadsheets dominate discussions. Yet the most important threats are often harder to measure. Employee morale, customer trust, emerging competitors. Because these factors are less visible, they receive less attention. The result can be disastrous. Humans would often rather have the wrong answer than no answer at all. We prefer an imperfect map over walking in uncertainty, even when we know the map is flawed. The availability bias influences our relationships too. We tend to focus on the people we see most often. We judge situations based on recent experiences, and we confuse what is memorable with what is important. The challenge is that our brains are not designed to calculate probability. They are designed to tell stories. Stories help us survive, but stories can also deceive us. So how do we fight the availability bias? One of the best methods is to deliberately seek different perspectives. Talk to people whose experiences differ from your own. Challenge your assumptions. Ask for data when stories seem too convincing. Most importantly, remember that what comes to mind easily is not necessarily what happens most often. Reality is not determined by what we remember. Reality is determined by what is true.